Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of the Changemaker 3-day challenge for personal change. My name is Chris Welsh. I'm coming from you from Dallas, Texas today. With this last day, what we'll go over is talking about how to stay motivated to do great things. Staying on track to accomplish your goals. Your purpose, your vision. What you want life to be like, as well as 5 ways to set and achieve your goals, goal setting traps to avoid, and also to just easy life adjustments to help you keep you on the path of your dreams. Just to recap what we've covered over the last couple of days, the first day we talked about being able to get on track with uncovering what your purpose is. What gives you meaning, what produces joy, happiness, is fulfilling in a fulfilling life for yourself, and how to be able to dig deep and uncover what your true whys are about who you are as a person, kind of why you do what you do, and what motivates you, what keeps you going. With that, yesterday we talked about your vision, just kind of really developing that picture of what life could be like. Do you truly believe that life could be better than what it is right now? Then developing that vision based off of what provides you meaning and purpose, and really creating a life that you dream of having, something that you're able to wake up each day and feel excited about the day, whether it's a huge day for celebration, or even it's just a normal day that you're excited to really have that another opportunity to get out in the world and be the best person that you can be. So with that, bringing us today, it's really just staying motivated, being able to stay on that track, but also to creating sustainable goals, so that way you're able to accomplish those goals and truly create the life that you desire. With creating sustainable goals, it's something we touched on yesterday. It's like your vision. You continue to reevaluate where you are, and just because you're impacted and influenced by experiences in life. Sometimes you'll go through the goal setting process and achieving those goals. You're going to learn new talents and also new skills, and that can also point you in a new direction. So it's healthy to make sure that we're constantly reevaluating the progress that we're making, but also to make sure that the target that we originally intended to shoot for is exactly where we want to go. And if it's not, that's quite okay. Just to make sure that we're taking the time for self-reflection and realizing that. A big thing, the question I want to start you off with today, just to kind of get you going, is ask yourself if what you're doing today is getting you closer to who you want to be. One thing I shared yesterday is that I always start my day off. I like to have some self-reflection and just kind of map out my day to the best of my ability, go through and kind of prioritize my task of things that I definitely need to get done today, goals that I would like to get done today. I always make sure that I try to take as much time as possible, knowing that, say, hey, these are the things I set out to accomplish this week, and then breaking it down into that individual that day. Say, hey, if I do this, it's going to get me one step closer. As well, too, that helps me to make sure that my day, that I'm feeling accomplished, that I'm making progress in the direction that I want to go. A big way to stay motivated is what we talked about yesterday, is maintaining that positive mindset. You want to maintain that positive mindset to the best that you can. With that, it's kind of your sphere of influence, kind of culture that's around you that has a big impact on that. Making sure you're conversating with people that support you in your goals, that you can have that same open communication for them in their words of encouragement. Other ways to go through and do that is having time for meditation, prayer, doing positive readings. A lot of people are really motivated by music. They want to go through and listen to music that inspires them. Each person is different, but it's really trying and uncovering what that is that motivates you. There's different, at different times you'll feel like things do inspire some. So you're going further too. Sorry, the interruption of the Wi-Fi. But then is making that, control that you're trying to purpose, and what inspires you to 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 do more, whether it be another thing to do on your make progress in your goals. You make yourself, but two, that you're also going and celebrating those wins, reevaluating that process, whatever what for yourself. We're acting first, that we're not procrastinating. A lot of times when the day before we'll set big goals for what we want to do, then that day arrives and we're not as motivated as we would have wanted to. So sometimes it's like going to the gym. Sometimes you have to make yourself act and make yourself go and do those things. And once you have that done, you feel a lot better about who you are, the progress that you're making. So it's just whatever those obstacles are with creating that. So another area, something I want to talk about is what can you do to elevate your mindset? Your mood, also to that day, you're looking at your plan. What you're looking at a lot is called mind mapping. I should go into that real quick and kind of explain what that is. With mind mapping, it helps you get a central idea, and then you go through and you kind of spur off of what that mind mapping is to create what it takes to achieve that goal, to achieve that task, and then it also too gives you the ability to write those down a little bit more individually and kind of define those a little bit better. That's one thing. Even using this with setting goals, doing things for your day to kind of allot your time, but even rewinding a couple of days when we talk about purpose and we talk about also to going through and creating your vision. These are great tools to really, in a lot of different settings. The big purpose of that is that to organize also what your goal is, and thinking about making progress towards your goals. It helps you to be able to cross off as you accomplish each thing, and then as you're making progress towards those actions, to keep your efforts consolidated until you accomplish an area, then you can move on to the next. Aside from mapping, making sure that we focus on our actions instead of the results. It takes a lot of times it takes, when we set down, that we can hit obstacles or just things take longer than what we really need or being giving ourselves grace and allowing ourselves to go through and still work towards that and not feel defeated with that. Be consistent in your actions. Make sure that you just don't work on whatever goal you're working towards accomplish and then kind of put it on the shelf and move on. That you're actually going through and being consistent in your actions, at least put an effort each day towards that. And a lot of times once you do that, once you start making action and you make those steps towards it, you typically will put more effort into each that day once the action has began. And also too, whenever you get into a goal and you feel like the original step that you set down to make is kind of daunting, see if you can't define that a little bit more and break those down into even smaller steps. And so in that way, it's once you achieve those smaller steps, you know where you can go back to pick up the rest. A lot of times too, whenever you do get in to dive deep and figure out what those setbacks are. Is the setback something permanent? Is it something that just time will kind of heal, or is it something that you need more resources for? Is it something that you can reach out and ask for a friend or a peer to help you on, to help you overcome those things? And that's why it's really good, kind of just building up that support network that's going to help you pursue your dreams, but also too, it helps you to have those valuable connections where you can be that support for others as well. It helps you to create those kind of deep-seated value in relationships, and you're giving yourself meaning and purpose, and you're giving them meaning and purpose in what they do. So a few goal-setting traps to avoid is making sure that our goals aren't too vague, and that's a big purpose of utilizing a tool like the model, is to give you the define and break down your goals as much as possible, and to really articulate what it's going to take to be able to achieve those. Sometimes your goals aren't personal enough. Sometimes, is your goal just to, what we talked about yesterday, upholding an image or a brand that you think you're creating for yourself, but it doesn't really have any true meaning to you. A lot of times, if you're setting a goal and it doesn't have meaning to you, you're not committed to it because it's not doing anything for you. It doesn't really, I'd say, solve an issue, but it doesn't give you any value. So if you do go through and you do those actions alignments, they are just more check the box and going through the emotions, because you're not really seeing a bit or return is going to help those around you. So, keep that in mind when setting your goals. Kind of back to getting a support system as well. Don't keep your goals a secret. A lot of times we don't have goals because other people won't always support us, or they won't believe in us, or we don't want to get their negative self-talk or input on that. But I do say you can be selective who you share your goals with, but definitely find some other people out there that are going to support you, because it's going to help you work through issues when you have them, or also to give you more encouragement when you need it. But then again, it's always really awesome when you can celebrate those small wins or even the big ones with somebody else that cares about you, or that you're around, or that's been part of the journey with you. So let's see, other areas that you can also if you're not really willing to get into sharing your goals, say with friends, that you feel like they're too personal, keep in mind that there's also Facebook groups, meetup groups, other things that you can become a part of, that a lot of people that are striving towards the same goal that you are. There are definitely a lot of resources out there. Just make sure that you're taking the time to dig deep and to utilize what's available to you. Easy life adjustments that you can keep in mind for to follow those dreams. We talked about being committed. How committed are you to achieving that goal? Rate yourself on a 1 to 10 each day. So how committed am I? Some days you may be 6, some days you may be an 8, some days you're up to bed and you're ready to go and you're a 10. But commit yourself each day, and so that way you can gauge your importance. And that way, if you're not committed that day, analyze and dive deep. Is there something I can do to change that? Sometimes we just need to take a break. So we need to step back and give ourselves a little bit of time and rest to really be geared up to focus on our goals, but still, be able to make some progress towards what we're working towards. Again, we already covered setting smaller goals. Sometimes it's just better to break things down, that our tasks seem monumental when first getting into it. With something that, if we set a goal that's too big and we start working toward, don't see step away. Identify varying solutions. When you think of a goal, think of all the different ways that you can go about it. A lot of times you may think of what's going to be the easier way for you to kind of get there, what's going to be the most obvious way, but also to being creating goals and being able to say, hey, this for the results that you want. Big thing with that is, like I said, sometimes time. Sometimes we put too much on our plate at one time. We're not getting where we want as fast enough, or then remembering two things that are out of our control. Sometimes when we're working with a goal, working towards a goal, we're relying on other people and them to act on, fulfilling their part of it, or to get us information that we need and they're not delivering it to us. Don't view that as a sign. So, oh, well, it's not meant to be. Don't get discouraged. Well, just keep in mind that just like things come up in your own life, things come up in other people's life. And maybe too, it's just time to step back and have a little patience, and that we're giving ourselves that time to maybe there's another area we can focus on in the meantime. So, and then also too, just keeping that positive mindset, going through and doing what you can to stay healthy, both mentally, physically, eating right, getting, exercise, but also to being, challenging with your mind, and go through and just learning and gaining more information. What I do is always have at least one or two books that I'm reading on at one time, just to, keep learning, whether I read 1 or 2 pages a day, or I go through, like last night, I read about 40 pages in a book, and it was just nice. It helps me to, stay balanced, that I'm doing things personally for myself as well. So that wraps up what we're going to cover on goal setting and mind mapping today. Just kind of a recap of the last 3 days. We talked about defining your purpose and creating your vision, and then today setting those goals. Just keep in mind that when you have this process, it's going to be repetitive. Like you go through and it's something you want to reevaluate. Your vision changes, your purpose can change, your goals can change, and make sure we're being adaptive and adjusting to those changes as they happen. Don't look at change as a fear of what you have to lose, but look at what you have to gain. Sometimes there's compromises, and sometimes it's just that learning process. There are times that change gets uncomfortable, but also to kind of, I like the looking at the kind of the metaphor of the caterpillar and the butterfly. It has to go through a big transition process to really break out of that chrysalis and break free and become the beauty that it can be. I do want to go over a little bit here at the end, just talking about the actual Changemaker program. The last few days was 3 days, just a very high level of what the program consists of. The main program is 8 weeks long. It's a series of 7 steps. The first step, which typically takes about a week, it's a deep dive into what I call the vision quest, and that's really uncovering your meaning and purpose. The next one is I call my one true wish, and that's where you really decide, if your life could change in an outstanding direction, what would that be? Defining, what that looks like, what success looks like, not even just what life is possible, but if you could choose one life as far as what you'd want it to be, what that would look like. Then the third one is the time is now. A lot of times we may get these dreams and we think about, I could do this, I could do that, but we never really get what I call a burning platform beneath us. Like, why do we need to act now? Why do we need to jump now? We go through and we break down, is now the time for you? What's the cost of not doing this now versus waiting till later? Or also too, just really motivate yourself why you need to act on those goals now. What's important about that? What's the benefit to yourself? What's the benefit to those around you? The week before we go through breaking ground, that's actually going through and taking that first step and really breaking down, setting goals into what exactly you need to do to accomplish this goal. Whatever direction that is, whether this is a 3-month goal, 6-month, year, or a 3-year plan, whatever that big goal is, to really break down that process, get that timeline going, really define exactly what each step is going to entail, really paint that picture of what this journey is going to look like for you. And then on week 5, we go through, just keeping an eye on the prize. It's all about, celebrating the wins. We go through, and with those goals that, so we set forth in the previous week, we set those benchmarks for you to be able to celebrate your successes on the way, and also have those identifying times that say, hey, I want to get this far towards this goal, and then I'm going to do a deep dive and really reevaluate the direction that I'm going. Maybe the goal has grown. Maybe we need to step back. Really teaching you that skill set to really able to analyze the process. Then we go into week 6, which is called emergent, and that's when you really start to see these things in your life take shape. Like you're starting to experience the things on the outside changing. You're starting to experience these changes on the inside, the way you view things, your mindset, and all of that, and how to deal with that, and to make sure that again, we're evaluating that this is the direction that you're going. You're starting to see progress, and hopefully at this point in time, you're really starting to be able to feel good about who you are, the choices that you're making, and you're able to see what I call the light at the end of the tunnel. And then we go into week 7, which is I have arrived. That's going to be what life is looking like when you have arrived at that step. Like, this is setting that tone of who I will be, where I'll be, and how I've gotten there in that whole change process. Keep in mind, that's over the 7 weeks time. So of course, if you have a year-long goal, that's not the time where you'll be, but you'll have all the tools to be able to carry you along that process. And with the program that I have, typically, like I said, it's 8 weeks long. That first week is really, the introduction, and then I add the week on the end to really go through and just review everything, and have that one-on-one time to make sure that we brought it all together. Typically with the program, it's an online course that guides you through. We have weekly coaching calls with a group coaching calls for us to be able to engage and collaborate with each other and support each other on this journey. And then also too, if you do want individual coaching sessions, I have that available. But just to wrap it all up, and when the purpose of me having this here for you today was to be able to show you and introduce you to what I do. It's been purposeful and meaningful for me. Like I said on day 1, my change process has kind of been 10 years long, and it's been ever evolving, but going through and really just continually utilizing the tools that I've learned along the way to mold me into the person that I am today. Being open to change, being willing to make adjustments in my life, and my passion, my purpose changes along the way. So really just teaching what I've learned, which helped me bring me to this moment in my life to others, to add benefit and value to your life. Well, I definitely really appreciate y'all for joining me. If you do have any questions, you can always send me a question on Facebook. My website is tcmcoaching.com. The course coming up isn't posted yet. I'm trying to get that started by Monday, and hopefully that will hit the ground running, but also too, that will depend on the amount of interest that I have at that time. If you believe that this is of interest to anyone that the videos are posted on my Facebook site, also too on YouTube. You can go through and share those things, or also to follow up. One thing I'll continue to do as well is, going forward, I'm going to have a daily podcast where we just kind of talk about different philosophies and personal change and self-betterment, maintaining mindset. Most of those will be anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes long, and just to help support you in your journey, whether you take the course or not. That that there's other people out there that want to help you be the best version of yourself. Thank you.